Now, more stories, insights, and analysis of Illinois policy and politics. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project. Once again, your host, AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan back with Brian Timpone on this edition of Illinois Rising, and the curious case of Mrs. Candace Gingrich. That's Kelly Cassidy. She's a Democrat state rep in Chicago, married to Candace Gingrich, Newt Gingrich's sister.
Sister, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. She claims this week she was retaliated against by House Speaker Mike Madigan for her criticism, muted as it was, of Madigan's handling of sexual harassment allegations in his office a few months ago, back in February, in advance of the primary election. This stems from Cassidy feeling pressure to resign her job from the Cook County Sheriff's Office, Tom Dart's office. Now, just full stop there. State representative with a job in the Cook County Sheriff's Office. That doesn't present any potential conflicts of interest, does it? No, of course not. Cassidy saying that, among other things, a criminal justice bill Cassidy opposed and Dart supported was picked up by State Representative Bob Rita, who has his own curious history with the fairer sex. And Rita questioned Cassidy as to how she could oppose something that her boss, Tom Dart, the Cook County Sheriff, opposed. Cassidy took that as intimidation, resigned from her position, and then went public complaining about being intimidated out of her job and otherwise treated poorly by her caucus leader, House Speaker Mike Madigan. But I mean, I guess if you put yourself in a position where you're ultimately can be conflicted, opposing views, how do you wear one hat as a state legislator and another hat as an employee of Tom Dart in a position where you're supposed to advance the interests of the executive of the office that employs you? That would be the Cook County Sheriff's Office. I know this is sort of a confusing tale, but it's not an unusual one in Chicago.
Look, in defense of Mike Madigan, Kelly Cassidy has a patronage job, just like all 33 members of the House who are part of his caucus who support him. Almost every one of them lives on government or used to live on government or has a pension. These aren't, other than I think LaShawn Ford is the only one who actually has a private sector job of any semblance, who's actually gone out and earned
33 members of his class. What do you mean?
33 members from Chicago.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all under his thumb. And so, Kelly, here's the deal. If you think you're smart, if you think that you're capable, go get a real job, and then you won't have to worry about being beholden to Madigan. But see, you can't do that because you're not capable of that, because you just want to virtue signal and be bombastic. That's what you want to do in Springfield. So you go get a job that's a hack patronage job where you can't get fired, and Madigan protects you. And then when Madigan tells you what you're going to do, you're going to cry publicly and act like, oh, this is an outrage. Well, guess what? You've been doing it since he put you in the position. You got to this position because of him, and now he's extracting his, I guess it's his right.
I wonder where these 33 members of Madigan's caucus in the who represent areas of Chicago, I wonder where they learned this trade of leveraging your public position for private gain. Maybe from a guy who's a partner in a property tax appeals firm who's the Speaker of the House.
Right, but I mean, again, when was the last time a real private sector employee or business owner represented Chicago in the House? We have some of these problems on the Republican side as well, where we have all these, kind of bought and paid for representatives who, when it comes down to it, won't make the right decision because they're there for themselves, for their job, not their own. We've seen these people on the other side who are independent, who are independently wealthy or small business owners who do the right thing. Kelly Cassidy wants to masquerade as like this independent firebrand, and she's just another Madigan toady, and she's embarrassed that she's been exposed as that. And we've seen this, by the way, with these suburban state reps from Lake County, like Elaine Neckritz. They go down, they're all tough. I'm going to make all these tough decisions. And then the minute Madigan puts pressure on them, they start crying, right? In her case, I remember her crying about it. Literally crying because Madigan makes her make the move, because ultimately they know that Madigan, they're there for Madigan, and if Madigan doesn't want them there, they'll leave.
Yeah, it is fascinating. You raise a good point how all of these independent-minded suburban Democrats go down to Springfield, and they wind up drawing the exact same conclusions as Mike Madigan. I mean, he must be very, very persuasive on the merits of particular legislation, piece of legislation, or policy choices, policy direction, because, again, they're independent-minded. They're going, especially the women, right? They're not going to be intimidated. No man is going to tell them what to do, sister. So they go down there. But again, how do they come to the same place that Madigan is? I guess he's right, and the policies that he is pursuing are the right policies. And of course, we see the results and how productive they've been for the state.
And like this has all been some secret. This Me Too, all this harassment in Madigan's office over the years. You think that Ann Williams and Kelly Cassidy, who Ann Williams she worked for Madigan, right, as his lawyer previously.
Yeah.
So these people are
she was
now
independent, though.
Independent. Now they're just blown away by it. Hey, and by the way, Jeannie Ives, who actually has the temerity to kind of rage against the machine out in DuPage County, she's awful and mean, but she's actually independent. Standing up for herself. That's the wrong kind of woman, Dan.
Well, maybe Candace Gingrich can line up a job for Kelly Cassidy, like working for Callista or something, helping her hawk those children's books. Something to try her hand in the private sector.